Have any questions?
Call this council meeting to order, and please ask you if you could stand, if you will. Glad to see all of you here tonight. There's a lot of us relieved. A lot of us have done a lot of hard work, and I appreciate everybody's work during this run of the campaign.
Yep.
Like I say, I think everybody put their best in, and I think a lot of good information came out of it, and that we can use as we go forward. So, and we can all work together. Doesn't matter what side you're on, we're all one side, and we don't want to do like the House and the Senate's do, or the House is doing and the Senate's doing up there, and just stay divided. We want to come back together and try to work together as we go through this next year, and I think we've got a lot of things that we can accomplish. So once again, I appreciate every one of you being here tonight, and at this time I'll turn it over to our Mayor Pro-Tem Buddy Fowler and ask him if he'll say a word of prayer for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us bow our heads, please. Our Father, we're truly thankful to be able to gather here tonight and offer praise to you, and also conduct the business of the town for our citizens here in Church City. Father, we ask you to be with us tonight as we make our decisions. Father, we also ask you to protect all of our soldiers that are overseas and protect their families, bring them home safely, Father. Be with them that needs help and lift them up to you. Father, we ask you to also be with this council as we meet tonight and make the decisions that affect this town. Guide our hands, guide our decisions. They may be the best for our citizens. We ask these things in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And we'll ask Councilman Don Helms if he'll lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and you may be seated. We do have some beautification and appearance committee awards tonight, and let's see. All right. Get Right Enterprise. Is anybody here to represent them? That's Get Right Enterprise. Well, they did get an award for their donation, and I'll ask Ashley or Stephanie to fill us in on that.
Yeah. So they actually donated some palm trees and installed those for us. So if you'll notice, probably have seen them already, especially two of the extremely tall ones. Over at Soundside Park, they have installed some really pretty palm trees. So things are looking good over there at Soundside.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to climb those.
They're extremely
trees.
tall. Yeah. Taller than we thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
We didn't expect
I hope they'll stay up there, but anyway, so I'll pass
survive.
that down. All right, do we have Tracy Renez here? Anybody from 502 North Shore Drive?
It's the home of the month.
The home of the month.
All right, cool.
This was one, the home of the month was selected, right? Okay, 502 North Shore Drive. So if you see Tracy, tell her congratulations, and we'll pass this down and see that they get that to her. What about Dr. Tart or anybody from Dr. Tart's clinic here? Oh, yes, I figured we'd have somebody here. You ladies come up front. Okay, have we got anybody from the Beautification and Appearance Committee? I know we got
Chad.
Chad. Chad. All right, you want to come up here and present this? Jim's not here tonight. So anyway, these fine ladies, they do a good job with the clinic out there, and they got to keep it beautified. And then they'll keep your teeth beautified at the same time. Eyes, excuse me.
Doug's got a toothache.
Yeah, we'll give him my glasses.
Yeah. I'm going on about 4 hours sleep for the last 2 nights. So, but anyway, yeah, they do a fine job out there. And if you need your eyes checked or need some glasses or contacts, or I don't even know what they got now. They may have something besides contacts now that you can wear. I don't know. But anyway, they'll look after your eyes. So I'll ask Chad if he'll present it to them.
All right, this is certificate of recognition for business of the month certification. The certification is awarded to Primary Vision Eye Center, Dr. Tart and staff. And on behalf of the Town of Surf City Beautification Committee on the 6th day of November.
Okay. Can somebody, you got a picture of them? Oh, you get it? Okay. Oh.
Smile now, girls.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Okay, have a few remarks I want to make. We ask that all attendants please set their cell phones to silent or vibrate mode. The council offers the public an opportunity to speak during the meeting. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes each and must be directly issue-oriented with agenda items for this meeting or on an issue upon which council has control. Citizen speakers will be acknowledged in the order that they signed up to speak and will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual council member. Speakers will address the council from the speaker's podium at the front of the room and will begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience will not be allowed. Public comment is not intended to require council to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers are expected to be civil in their language and presentation. All comments where the primary purpose is to promote business or candidacy are not allowed. Okay, now we go to the adoption of the agenda in accordance with the council's adoption rules of procedure. Councilman shall reserve responses. Wait a minute, that was at the end of that. If any of the council in the forum wants to answer the agenda, they can do it at their speaking time. But now we're at adoption of the agenda with no other items being considered separately. A motion to adopt the agenda is in order. And if there's any changes to be made, it must be made prior to the adoption.
I make a motion we adopt it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise their hand. Motion carried. Okay. All right, consent agenda. The items under the consent agenda are generally routine in nature. The board may take action to approve, disapprove all the items single vote. If any item wanted to be withheld from the general action to be discussed and voted upon separately at the discretion of the council. So do I have a motion?
I make a motion we approve it also.
I'll second.
All in favor, raise a hand. Okay, thank you. Motion carried. All right, next is a public hearing, and it is now 6:40, and we'll go into public hearing, and I'll turn it over to Miss Stephanie. And the attorney has something that he would like to say prior to this.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. If you recall, I believe it was in the September meeting, council excused Councilmember Batts from this due to her being one of the agents involved in the transaction of the subject property. I would request the board make a motion to recuse her from this hearing as well.
Do I have a motion to
I'll
recuse?
make that motion to recuse Ms.
I'll
Batts.
second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Thank you, Mr.
Motion
Mayor.
carried. Thank you. Now to Stephanie.
Yes, we have a request for annexation. It's for 3.7 acres. It's a satellite annexation for a property located off of Highway 210 for 1 day at a time now, and they are requesting a zoning of mixed use, which would allow for commercial or residential development there in that area. And it is, It is consistent with the surrounding zonings for that parcel, as some are owned by the county, zoned residential, and then the town of Surf City owns a neighboring property which is zoned governmental. So at this time, I ask for you to open a public hearing.
Public hearing is now open. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak on this satellite annexation? I guess we do.
Charles.
Just briefly. Good evening, Charles Riggs, 502 New Bridge Street, Jacksonville. I'm here on behalf of the petitioner. We are requesting the voluntary annexation. The application is in order. Like was said previously, we are adjoining the town of Surf City and its zone government. To our east, we have R10 residential zone. We have a great deal of road frontage on this piece of property, and this is the most compatible zone, the mixed-use zone for this tract of land. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have, any concerns.
Charles, you know what you're going to put on that property?
They haven't decided exactly, but more than likely it'll be a commercial use.
Does anybody in the audience have any question? Hit him hard. Give him some hard questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Sorry.
Everything all right? Yes, sir. Okay, all right. Anybody else got a? Okay, it is now 6:42. We'll close this public hearing. All righty.
I'll make a motion, we approve it and set the zoning for mixed use.
I have a second. Second. Jeremy, second it. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I don't know why I asked that. Everybody raised their hand. Okay. Miss Stephanie again.
Yes, this property is a petition for 17.68 acres. It's also a satellite annexation voluntarily requested. It is located off of Mill Creek Road. They are also seeking an R5 residential zoning. It is consistent with the neighboring properties, one being the Mill Creek subdivision next door with Poplar Branch, and the other being within the Pender County. They are also zoned agricultural and residential. So I ask for a public hearing.
It is now 6:44. Call this public hearing. Does anybody have anything they would like to bring before the board on this annexation? Anybody wishing to speak?
No, somebody out there?
Anybody wishing to speak? Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Julie Lawrence, 127 Poplar Branch. I guess questions, if it can be answered, of what the property is going to be used for?
I don't know that we can determine what the property is used for.
At this time,
At
this time with the R5 zoning, it would be residential zoning, so it couldn't be anything commercial on 5,000 square foot lots at a minimum.
5,000?
Which is currently the same zoning that you have next
Correct.
door at Mill Creek.
And as far as the, oh my God, can't think of the word. The driving, oh Lord, I can't think, it's a simple word.
Driveway width?
The right of way, is it going to be a considered between both properties? There's one there now.
You talk about connectivity?
The easement, I guess, the
To
easement
connect
road.
the two neighboring properties?
Correct.
That would be a question for Mr. Paget.
Yes, the property will be required to have a connection to the Poplar Branch subdivision. It will have to have its own access out to the street.
Correct. Okay. And
And we the mic, please.
Sure, yes, sir.
The question was access to the property. At this time, we don't have any design on on how the property is going to be laid out, but they would be required to connect to the Poplar Branch development, but they would have to have their own connection out to Mill Creek Road. But without, the zoning is putting them in R5, which is a residential zoning, but they're not required to submit a plan yet to get the zoning. So that won't be told until we actually get a plan showing what they're going to do.
Right, there is no plat being presented at this
Right.
time.
This is just to get it annexed in and get the zoning set for it. And it's Town of Surf City's ordinance requires street connectivity between different developments as well as parking lots on the commercial. It's an ordinance requirement.
So it's not just like you have to have rentals and access type of ordinance?
No, our ordinance requires anytime when it's possible, if you've got neighboring developments, to have the streets connect in some way to help keep traffic, local traffic, off the main roads.
So does that mean the construction trucks will be going down that road?
Potentially. Yeah, but that, again, they would have to submit a site plan. There'll be another time for that to come up because that has to go through planning board as well as the town board then when they present the site plan. No, ma'am, you could object at that time.
But then, at the same time, if something happened because you've only got one road going into Popular Branch, and one way in and one way out. If something was to happen on that road, then you would have another way that emergency could get in and service you from the other side of it, which is something that happened at the houses down here on the peninsula. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to, that's the reason for that.
Can I jump in right here? I think your question and your concern is once it's done, the heavy equipment for construction coming in and out on Poplar Branch Road, before that point comes up, when they go to the planning board with their lot laid out and come, that's the time to come together and meet with the planning board to also see the developer and the engineer behind that and express your concerns about staying off of your road and seeing how they're going to access it and to minimize the impact on your road that you all have to keep up. I think that's what your question was, I believe, if I'm correct. Okay, that would be the time to come and do that at that point, and then when they bring it back to us to be approved, to make sure that your concerns has been addressed, then we would do that at that time too. You're welcome.
I'm not sure if this is the time to ask about it. School buses, will they be going through there as a thoroughfare? Also, where does this, and this might not be for the council, how does this affect the schooling right now? Surf City and Topsail Middle are sharing teachers. It seems to be coming to a point, and granted, there's people at the board meeting, at the school board meeting right now that I know of asking questions like this. It's affecting the students. It's affecting the teachers. How does that affect the high school if they're adding another community? We have several new communities going up. And right now, the high school is at capacity. And it's showing on the kids' grades, activities. Is this the time to bring that up? Or, you're not sure what's going on there yet.
There's never a bad time to bring up about education, but unfortunately, this is the wrong forum to bring it up. It should be addressed at the county commissioners level and with the Board of Education for Pender County. That's where it should be taken up, and your concerns are valid and certainly legitimate, but we have no control over that as being the town municipality as far as it affects the county and the educational system. We certainly can try to lend credence to that. The platforms or the people you need to be addressing will be the County Board of Education and the county commissioners. That's what their plans are for the educational process here in Pender County. And we're all about helping and getting the best we can for our kids here in our area. But unfortunately, we don't control those purse strings. We don't make the decisions with the Board of Education as well as county commissioners. They do make these, and they've been doing a wonderful job doing that. Unfortunately, because of the fast growth of our area down this way, we've outpaced the building process. It is an expensive process, and they have to look at borrowing funds or borrowing money and selling bonds, and they're in the process of doing this. And we're just growing at a pace that they've not been able to really stay up with, but they're trying to get a good grip on it. And I would encourage you to go to the Board of Education and express those concerns, or get a hold of your commission to represent your area. I think that might be Mr. David Williams, and express your concerns to him. They're certainly valid.
Okay. And same question back to the thoroughfare, that area, will the buses, and it might not, same thing, the buses go through there, they stop on Mill
That will
Creek
be
right
up
now?
again to the Board of Education. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
And, but I do know that the Board of Education is working hard at looking at building, I know, a new high school right at this time. And I do know that they do have trouble with buses. I'm not sure whether it's not enough buses or what the situation is.
I think we're lacking bus
I think they
drivers.
are aware of it.
But
it wouldn't hurt to put your voice into it, because like they say, you know, the squeaky wheel does get the grease, so
correct.
I
It
would
also
always
affects the teaching,
go forward
and not
with it.
just the buses at this point. And I understand you have to go to the board meeting. There's a school board meeting tonight. I know there's people there stating their concern about it, but I just realized that a huge portion of that is affected by Surf City, and the fact that it is growing quickly as far as residential use.
Right.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have anybody else who wishes to speak?
I make a motion, we approve it and set the zoning for R5.
Let's go out of the public hearing first.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we go out of the public hearing. Or do I have a motion to go out of the
So
public
moved.
hearing, sir? Okay.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Raise your hand. All right. Now for a motion.
I make a motion, we pass it and set the zoning for R5.
Okay.
I second.
You second it? All right. All in favor, say aye, or raise your hand.
Aye. I'll do both.
Oh, that's
I
right.
did
You're
both.
back on this one. I'm sorry. I didn't. Thought you were still being quiet, girl.
Aye.
Okay. Miss Stephanie, the next one.
All right, this is a request for 8.1332 acres for satellite voluntary annexation. This property is located also on Mill Creek Road. It is surrounded by R5 zoning and residential and agricultural, which is also located within the county. The applicant, again, is seeking an R5 residential zoning for this property, and I ask for a public hearing.
Have a motion to go into public hearing.
Motion.
All right. Now, do we have anybody that'd like to speak on this one? This is adjacent to that same piece of property. It's just a smaller piece, and so belongs to different people. Yes, ma'am. Come right on up.
Hi, I'm Debbie Rogers, and I live in Poplar Branch too. So we came to the meeting, we received a certified letter to come here to give our input about annexation, and if we object to it, it isn't going to stop this building. So what's our role here? We're there. We're concerned about the overbuilding. We're concerned about the roads. We're concerned about the crowdedness. The buses are running 2 routes already. So if we object to the annexation, will that stop some of this growth?
Yes, sir, Mr. Counselor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of the public hearing is to get input from all the...
Now you're there.
Do you want to use this one?
Okay, thank you. Respectfully, Mr. Mayor, the purpose of this public hearing is to receive citizen comment and input, their thoughts on the annexation. That's the purpose we're here for. I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, if the council is persuaded by what they hear at these public hearings to vote against an annexation, That's certainly the prerogative of the council, but the purpose of the hearing is to hear these type of concerns.
Right.
So,
I mean, right now, the buses are running 2 routes. You know, the kids are having to wait because we're so overcrowded. And we keep building buildings. We don't have the roads to support it. Every time that I'm stuck in traffic in Hampstead, I am saying some not so nice things to the people who have approved all this building. So, you know, we need to do the roads and the schools first, and then the building. Not the other way around, where we're sitting in traffic for 2 hours because there was a fender bender.
I agree with you.
Please consider that. We're not
Yes, ma'am.
happy.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Do we have other people that like to speak?
Yeah. Doug?
Yes.
My name's Michelle Evans, and I live at 157 Poplar Branch. Dealing with this building, not that I have an issue with residential homes. My issue is more or less the fact of if they construct, how are we going to know that they're going to protect the wet zones and not cause conflicts? Because for one of those properties, it comes up to the backside of my house. And if they build funny or they don't protect how the water flows, it's going to come straight to me and one of my other neighbors. Because we're at coinciding points. He's got wetlands that come on him that go straight to him, that lead back into the Bear Creek that's back there. And I live on the other side of the wet zone that leads back down and combines into our, I guess you could say, subdivisional creek that leads back to that backway creek. If they construct and they don't pay attention, it's going to cause more waterway. And we already dealt with massive water and land erosion issues from Florence. We weren't prepared for. One of my neighbors almost lost their whole back fence of their property. So I'm more or less worried for them because I know they didn't know because some of them had just moved into the neighborhood not even 2 months ago. They're worried about the fact of the construction coming in. How are these guys going to work on preparing for the fact that they don't cause more water without having a plan ahead of time and where they're going to have it go? Because I know for a fact I want to put a fence up on my back property, but I want to know that if I'm going to spend $3,000 putting a fence up, that how they construct is not going to sit there and tear my fence down. And that's what worries me.
Okay. Steve, can you explain the Diener
And stormwater runoff.
stormwater permits?
Yes, anytime a developer comes in to do something like that.
Speak into the microphone so everybody can hear.
Part of what they're required to do is submit a state stormwater and erosion control permit. And the erosion control is to keep from affecting other properties, and the stormwater is to take care of water on that property, to properly route it. And you've got wetlands issues too. I know Poplar Branch has wetlands on it, and that's why those were left like they are, because the state requires the wetlands to be preserved in those cases. And the new developers, whoever develops the others, would have to meet the same requirements. And again, the time will come when they have to submit, and it'll be notified that it's going to the planning board, so you folks can come to the planning board meeting as well as the town board meeting and see what they're proposing for the actual site itself. Right now, they're just requesting to get in and get the zoning, but once they actually do lay out the development they're going to use, again, we can't issue any permits until all the state stormwater and erosion control measures have been issued by the state.
And all of that is by the state too.
Yes.
Stormwater permits and all that is by the state.
Yep.
Steve, is that going to be R5 also?
Yes.
Okay, so a quick question: Where's the access to a main road from there?
I don't know.
Because looking here, there's no access. It's just
Right.
it's
Again,
landmarked.
Strictly for annexation, for nothing to do with site
No,
design.
I'm just asking.
Oh,
I
okay.
understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just asking because it helps me in
Yeah.
my decision.
My understanding, this isn't official, but my understanding is that property is not landlocked. It does have an access easement across the property in front of it, but they're also talking about going into cahoots with the one next door to do one development on all of it. But again, they would have to provide access out to Mill Creek Road, so I've been told that property already has some sort of deeded access out. So that would be, again, in the development phase, when they brought in their stuff for the development, that's when they would have to show that access.
And whenever I go to the planning board, now they've got to have it drawn out where the driveway is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so any of y'all that would like to go to the planning board when this is brought up, you should be there. Let's see, when the planning board meets.
Any other questions?
Any other question?
What's that?
Dr. John Evans, 157 Poplar Branch Way. I just moved, I built a house for my daughter, and I just moved in June from Northern Virginia. And I would ask the council humbly not to Fairfax, Pender County. Thank you.
Not Fairfax.
Is it possible to request the council to verify what's being said about the access to Mill Creek? Because I know the owners of the property there, and they were asked if they could use their roadway to get access to the property, and they denied it.
The Snodgrasses actually have a driveway that goes through there that is gated at the easement, that is gated at the property line that they use to access that property.
So I wonder why they would have asked the folks that own the property next door if they could use that road.
I'm not aware of those conversations.
There's no way to research that?
Is access an issue in annexation?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I remind the council that we're here tonight on the issue of annexation, site-specific improvements.
Doesn't have anything to do with that.
Are irrelevant to the issue of annexation at this point. Even representations made by the petitioner could be changed. So I encourage the council to not rely on any preconceived notion, excuse me, of site-specific conditions, because that comes later as any site plans go before the planning board if the council votes in favor of this annexation.
Right, so all we're voting on is the annexation.
Bringing this property within the town's corporate limits. Yes,
Right.
sir.
And then later on, we will vote on as far as the
Once it's taken to the planning board.
development.
Yes, sir.
So we shouldn't be concerned about some of the possibilities that this development could,
And-
this is not the time to be concerned about that?
Well, I mean, your concern is fine, but what it needs to be done is brought first to the planning board, and then you can still bring it to the board after that too, so.
My comment to the council is equally applicable to anyone at this public hearing. If they're banking their understanding on site-specific improvement or lack of improvement as they understand it today, that could change. So
Right.
again, the issue before the council tonight is whether this property should be brought within the town's corporate limits.
Right.
There are additional safeguards in place that the public will have an opportunity to give their input as this property progresses if it is annexed into the town.
Right, and we're not even really concerned of the, whether it's a R5 or R10 right now. Okay. Anybody else like to speak? Anybody on the board got anything? Okay, we'll close this public hearing. Do we have a motion on the satellite annexation?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor, raise a hand. Motion carried. Okay, now comes the time for public comment, and citizens have opportunity to address the council for no more than 3 minutes per speaker on topics which concern agenda items of this meeting. And Ms. Stephanie has the list.
At this time, we have Mr. Richard Vespa of 2503 South Shore Drive.
Richard Veshoff, 2503 South Shore Drive. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the winners of our election. I'd also hope that the beach is made a priority by the council in the next coming months, that we get things taken care of out there and get the beaches engineered and working properly. I'd also like to hope that we get the Juniper Swamp issue squared away, because we just now annexed 17, 18, 19, 20, 27 acres into the city, which is going to be R5, which is going to be houses that are going to be hooked into the sewer and water system. So I would really, truly hope that a lot of attention would be paid to getting our sewage capacities up to what they're going to need to be. And again, I thank the board for allowing us to come up and speak tonight. I would still ask that that 3-minute limit is considered, as I've asked for in the past, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's it? Okay.
Ask those ladies to stick around after the meeting, not till they're in contact with the Board of Education.
Okay. If you ladies would stay just a minute after the meeting, the ladies that spoke, or anyone that spoke, and if they want some more information or be notified, let you know when the planning board meets and everything.
And I'll also tell you who you can contact with the Board of Education.
Yeah, okay. All righty, thank you. All right. We have 3 site plans to approve, and we'll ask that Mr. Steve stand up and present them. The first one is Surf City BBI.
Mr. Mayor, I believe did we skip over the manager report?
Oh, we did skip over. Well, I forgot about you. I'm sorry. Steve, you're not next. You going to just wait right there?
Short and sweet.
Okay.
Just a couple updates. Had a pre-construction meeting this morning with NCDOT to discuss the sandbag refilling. They have the sandbags that are down on South Shore at the Surf City, near the Surf City Topsail Beach line. They plan to start refilling and then covering those sandbags November 15th, and that work should be completed February 1st. We also had another pre-construction meeting today for our sand haul project that's slated to start November 15th as well. We actually met on site at the sand borrow site that will be used to ensure that the sand quality that will go out on that beach this time, first go round, is what CAMA and Fish and Wildlife approve of, so that we're not having to bring in another screen and set it up on the beach. So actually that sand it's the prettiest sand I've ever seen. So we're pretty excited about that. So that work is still scheduled to start, as I said, November 15th. Lastly, we have hired a planner. She's not here yet, but she's coming. We filled that position. We're very excited to have her come on board. She is an engineer by trade, so she brings us a lot of expertise and knowledge. So I think she'll be a great asset to the town. And that's pretty much all I have.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Okay. Now you, Mr. Steve.
Good. Okay. Yeah, this is a site plan approval for Surf City BBI LLC. It's 13997 Highway 5210. It's the old Ace Hardware store adjacent to it. The building was started some years back, I think in about 2011 or 12, and was never finalized. There's new owners now on the building. They've gone in and fixed it up, and they were working under the old existing site plan, but somewhere along the way they decided to change it. They've got more green space out in front now, so I recommended they go back before the planning board and back before you guys, since it was a change from what the original plan was, and that's what you have before you now. There's actually less parking area, less asphalt, and more green space there out on the front side of the building. And
with what we're talking about. Looks a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm all right with it.
And they're still sharing the pond with the
Yes, they started,
building next
there
door,
was,
correct?
they had actually worked for a while of getting their own stormwater system, but when that used to be one parcel when Gideon had it, and he got a state stormwater permit for the entire parcel. And along the way, this parcel split off, but they still were able to maintain that one state stormwater permit for all 3 parcels. And Mike Gallant, the engineer that designed it, is here if you have any questions. He might be able to answer any of those more detailed questions, but the gist is they're operating under the old stormwater permit they have, so the stormwater's been taken care of.
Anybody got a question on the stormwater? Okay, do I have a motion on this one?
I make a motion that we tell them they gotta go before the planning board again. Is that what you want?
No, they've been
No,
there.
they've already been.
I make a motion we approve the site plan as presented.
There you go.
Do I have a
All
second?
right. Second.
You second, okay. Second by Jeremy. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Or raise your hand, whatever. Okay, Steve, Oyster Pond.
Yep. Oyster Pond subdivision, it's a 2.82 acre tract, zone mixed use on North New River Drive. Again, this is down along where the old Barnacle Bills Pier used to be. And it's laid out there going to a public street. The planning board approved it with the condition that there's an existing subdivision called Sawgrass Point to the north of it, and the 2 roads didn't quite line up, so the planning board approved it with the recommendation that as long as they get the roads to line up, and that doesn't sound like it's going to be a problem. I know Charles Briggs is here with Sawgrass. I don't know if John... Oh, okay. Yeah, John Pierce's office is here if you have any questions on that. But it's a 10-unit subdivision, public street, connecting to what would be a private street next door. The property to the south of it is some townhomes that, because of the lay of the land, they have about a 5-foot high retaining wall, so we cannot get street connectivity that way, just because of the obstacle. But TRC, Planning Board's all recommended approval. They've got all their ducks in a row on it, so.
Okay. Have y'all agreed on getting the street lined up? Okay.
I make a motion we follow the planning board recommendation, approve the site plan with conditions that all roads and Sawgrass Point line up with the neighboring property. Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, same. Motion carried.
When's that new
Okay,
planner
Mr.
start?
Steve. Huh?
I said, when's that new planner start so she can come up here and do this?
I'll be here before you know it.
Okay.
Okay, Sea Oaks Plaza.
Okay, Sea Oaks Plaza, commercial warehouse and retail. It's going to be a little like an office. Well, you see them all over. They got a garage where they got for the tradesman kind of thing. They got an office with a shop in the back.
Right.
Zone C3 commercial. It matches zoning. It's at the end of the road up here where the old Homecoming development used to be. It's on the end of that. Anyway, it's a little 4-unit. The only thing when the planning board addressed it, they had individual driveways going in to their doors, and the planning board, it didn't meet our ordinance for a turnaround. They can't back out into the street. So what the planning board wanted was a drive all the way down the front to connect them all. Well, between then and now, when they went back with their state stormwater permit, it was too much coverage. So what they've done to alleviate that, they're actually putting a turnaround on each driveway, like a little tail out there, so they can get back out in the street without backing into the street.
Are the streets gonna be wide enough for a fire truck and all that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's an existing...
The street's already there.
Yeah, existing street.
It's the one going down to the number 2 water tank. You know, the funny looking water tank on the island. I mean, off the island. Okay. Any questions?
I make a motion we approve it as long as they abide by all the planning board recommendations.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried. Okay, thank you, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Or we might even try to have her before next time, I don't know. I know Steve's gonna be glad to see her. Okay, all right, now, Councilman Forum. And I'm gonna start at the far end down there with
I'm glad to see everybody here this morning. I'm like every other candidate, I'm glad the election's over with, and I want to personally thank everybody that supported me, and I want to thank everybody that came out and voted. We had a great turnout, and I was glad to see that turnout, and that's all I have.
I just wanted to congratulate Mayor Medlin for it was great. I know I called Mayor Medlin. I called Mr. Fowler.
He called me that night.
Yeah, Mr. Fowler, Mr. Helms, Mr. Torres. Congratulations! It's fantastic. It's going to be great working with y'all. And Teresa, it's always great working with you anyway. So, and I just want to say it's Nelva's always sitting to my left over here. She's been really cutting it up a lot lately. I'll tell you that, big time. So we're going to miss her for sure, no doubt about it. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Nelva.
Well, I'm going to miss all of y'all. All these years I've sat here and tried to work out things for the town. And I just want to thank all the citizens of Surf City for supporting me for 24 years. And just... Thank y'all so much. And I'm like the rest. I'm glad the election is over. I'm sorry for the ones that lost, but we have got to put things behind us and move forward. And I asked all the citizens of Surf City to support this board, and let's try to get everybody back on track. We have been divided so long, and it's no sense of it. We had a bad storm. It worked the town employees to death, and it worked the mayor to death. And I'm saying it takes a time to get over a storm like that. But we can all do it if we'll put our hearts together and say, well, I don't ask what the town can do for me. Ask yourself what you can do to help the town. And I just thank God for all of you. I love you, and I will be around. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Buddy Fowler.
Thank you, Mayor. I too would like to thank everyone for the support and the vote. Our turnout was the largest turnout we've had in a number of years. I think that's due to the fact that you all being the citizens here in Surf City, understood that the job that had been going on with the council and the job they had been doing, and you agreed with that, and you agreed with the direction the council had been going in, and you let your voices be heard, and I thank you for that. Also, at the same time, I think that we got away from the culture and the atmosphere that we're used to here in the town of Surf City, and we need to get back to that and get back to doing the business for the town and get away from the rumor mills, get away from the antagonistic type of behavior, get away from the accusatory type questions, and ask questions. Don't make statements and do things that need to be that way. We need to unite and get back on what we need to do and move in that direction. And I, for one, intend to do that and work with all other council people and along with the mayor and move in that direction. So if you come into our meetings and you've got something positive to say or you've got a question, make sure it's a question and not a statement. And don't be derogatory in your remarks, because these people up here put their life, their time, and all of their work ethics to work for you. And it's not proper to criticize or come in and not do your homework on something because you believe. I believe in a lot of things, but just because I believe in those things don't make those things right. If I believe, I need to do the research and back up my beliefs or change my beliefs. It's one of those two things that must happen. And I think as a society, we need to do that. We have a great community here. We have a great group of citizens. We have a great town, and we have a great staff. I'm proud to be part of it, and I'm proud that you saw fit to give me another chance to serve you 4 more years, and I thank you for that.
All right, Miss Teresa Bass.
Thank God. I didn't have to run. But
There's 2 more years.
I was happy of the turnout that we had yesterday. Proud of all of our residents that came out and voted. Surf City is strong and united. We will stand. We'll stand together. We'll stand proud. We have recovered from disasters. So we will stand united. Just a couple thank yous. We were in several magazines recently. One being the Topsail magazine. Our own Audrey is on the front cover representing our Welcome Center. Very proud of her and everything that she's doing to bring recognition to our center. Also, there was the Parks and Rec magazine that we were also in. Oh, it's right here.
I saw one.
It's right here. Before and after Florence, incredible pictures of our recovery process, our new parks, our new pirate ship. I'm surprised we all didn't wear our eye patches tonight. But also...
we hadn't had a chance to get out there and fight on it yet. That's the reason we're not wearing eye patches.
The Topsail Island Shoreline Protection Committee met last week. We went over, reviewed our state, federal, and other goals for next year. We'll be bringing those to the workshop next month to go over those goals and approve those with our council. Wanted to give a shout out to Chad Kimes, our DOT Division 3 representative now, that he has looked after Surf City, and we're excited that he is our new Division 3 engineer. Thank you, Poplar Branch, for speaking and bringing your concerns tonight. You still, I encourage you to come to the planning board to go over your concerns again with the planning board to make sure that the roads, the driveways, any issues that you want to discuss, you have that right to come to the planning board to discuss those at the next planning board meeting. Saturday, we have a street sweep here in Surf City at 9 a.m. We look forward to seeing you there. Also, the tree lighting is coming up. And then Monday is Veterans Day, and I am proud to say that I am thankful for all your service, everything that, for those that have served, continue to serve. Thank you.
That it?
That's me.
I'll follow Teresa on the veterans. I think one thing about it, our town has so much military life in it that we realize the worth of our military. And of course, we really realize the worth of the veterans that have served in years past, from my granddaddy right on in World War I, right on to 9. They have given their lives, and given, if not their lives, they gave a lot of their time and sometimes their limbs and all too. So we definitely realize that, especially in this neighborhood, and it is a big part of our community is the military. So we do want to keep those in our mind as we go through. Once again, I appreciate everybody that was involved in the politics, and I think we will all agree it was a long, drawn-out one this time. Yes, there was some nasty stuff on Facebook, and I think Facebook, one thing from the last time I ran to now, Facebook has really blown up, so you get so much more on Facebook. And somebody told me yesterday you can't believe everything you see on Facebook. I just so anyway, but yeah, Facebook I think had a lot to do with it. But I do appreciate everybody that ran. I think everybody had a good run. Everybody did a great job with it. Jeremy, you had a fantastic run. In fact, there one time they had you ahead of me, didn't you?
Yeah, just for 1 minute.
Yeah, they had, but anyway, they were getting numbers confused, I tell you, in some of their reporting. But our problem was, part of that problem was that we were located in 2 different counties. And they were just looking in one county. They weren't looking in both counties. But, you know, I think it turned out good. And I think, like Vesper said, I think we probably got some, you know, information and all that came to the community from other people. And the woman, you know, we did have more turnout. We had more voted than has ever voted in Surf City before. And yeah, well, we got more people too. But she asked me why. I said, well, you know, because of the differences of opinions and all, it got more interest to people about what was going on and who was running and all of that. So it brought out these people to get their feelings put into the polls, which I think is what elections should be all about. Still, I don't know what the percentage was, but it was still wasn't that large a percentage. Even though we had 30% more vote this time, it's still, I don't know, maybe, less than 30% of the people still voted. So, I mean, that's still not a great, big, strong turnout. And so maybe we can keep working on it and get more people to turn out. Of course, we had some people that have never voted in their lives that voted at this election. So it did bring a lot of people out. But our main thing now is, since we've gotten through this, is to come together, try to do some ideas from everybody, both sides, and use all those ideas and continue to make our community grow strong, but still keep it small, family oriented. And that's what I have always been wanted ever since I've been on the board. But I do appreciate everybody that voted for me and everybody that voted. So at this time, I will turn it over to our attorney and let him tell me if I messed up.
Yeah, not at all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be quick. The School of Government is offering some training. Back in August, reported to the board that this summer the General Assembly passed a Senate bill that consolidated the county chapter of the general statutes and the municipal chapter of the general statutes related to planning and regulation into a brand newly created chapter 160D. That's going to be a monumental undertaking for local units of government and counties for that matter to recalibrate their local ordinances. So the School of Government is putting out some publications to assist in that regard and are also offering regional training. Professor Adam Lovelady and Professor David Owens are going to be putting on the training. The closest training to Surf City is in Greenville on January 22nd and in Wilmington on January 23rd of next year. The school encourages all town planners, zoning administrators, and other associated staff, including town attorneys and town managers, to attend. It's $100 per person, whether you go to Greenville or Wilmington, and apparently they're going to give a textbook type publication out that will assist in that transition. That transition has to occur, with only one exception, by January of 2021, and I know that sounds like a year. It's a year from now, but that's going to go by fast to get this implemented. So I wanted to bring that to the council's attention as well as staff's attention. Secondly, the other night I was at my home in Wilmington and saw the opening of Soundside Park, and I just want to say that I was proud to see that. It looks like a very nice facility, and congratulations on getting that open. And lastly, I was baptized into the election. I think my first meeting with Surf City was in August, so it's nice to hear these nice healing comments tonight, and I too am glad the election's over. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now, you'll get a list of all the people you think that needs to attend this, the council and...
Well, I don't know if the council, it's really the people that make those decisions, like some of these people
so
talking.
The planners and the man, that's what I was trying to get across.
Building inspectors, zoning administrators, planners. I'm going to go myself. I'll probably go to more than one, actually. Anybody associated with the local development regulation and planning process, it would behoove us to go to that.
Do you think it would be wise for them to go to both of them, the one in Greenwood and then the one in Wilmington? I know they probably
not
be
everybody.
The same, but
that'd get expensive, but and I think they're offering some later in the year, next year too. And the School of Government's really pushing this. They were the ones behind. What the problem was is 153A and 160A have the enabling statutes to regulate development. But then throughout all the chapters, they're scattered everywhere. So the school worked with the Bar Association to put together this legislation to present to the General Assembly to combine them, pull everything from everywhere so staff and attorneys and members of the public, if they want to know what the law is, they can go to one organized chapter, Chapter 160D. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very good resource, but since the school was the impetus to this, I think they're going to continue to put out additional training materials and things like that. We're all in the same boat. Every town has to do it. So
probably get more guidance when we get our planner in anyway. Okay? Thank you, sir.
I have one comment real quick. We are hosting a retirement party for Miss Nelva on Friday, November the 22nd from 3 to 5 at Faith Harbor, and we invite all of the public to attend.
Please come.
That's for you, Nelva.
Yes. Please come.
And everybody's invited to attend.
I forgot to say something. It's okay?
Yes. No. Yes.
I wanted to recognize and give our sincere sympathy to Charles Lanier's family. He was our town attorney for
Yes, Lord.
many, many years. He passed away after having a stroke and did not recover. So I did want to mention Charles Lanier and thank him for his many years of service. And also Mike McIntyre, which is our attorney for Topsail and Shoreline Protection. He was named Attorney of the Year. So we are very pleased. He has helped us many years in our beach nourishment and getting us grants and continues to push things our way and let us know what's available. So congrats to Mike McIntyre.
That's good.
I'm done.
That's it. Okay.
Meeting is halfway adjourned. My name is Alan Phillips. I don't know if one person in this room does Ms. Teresa, but I live over in Goodman County, Kansas, Wolfville area. I have a home at 1303, North New River Drive, down here. But I had this opportunity to be down last December 4th. I got here about 6 o'clock that morning. The bridge was due to close and the new one was due to open. So I rode the old bridge several times with my camera, and I took a lot of videos as it opened and closed that morning, right on up till it opened for the last time. Well, I had the opportunity to meet the chief. I hope you remember us talking to him.
I hope it was a good opportunity.
It was. I've been coming here, I'm 63 years old, I've been coming here since I was old enough to crawl on the sand in the beach. And I think a lot of this island, this town, those bridges. But I want back and ask, excuse me. Mr. Shanahan, stand up, please. I put together something I think everybody in here would like to see.
Yes,
It means a lot to me.
Who do you say?
Shanahan.
Hey, Shanahan. Come on around.
I did not realize
until he and I got to talking that he admitted Chief hadn't had as long as he had.
Yeah, he's an old man.
I love taking pictures. My phone in my pocket's got over 3,000 on it. One at the house has got 15,000 on it. But I'll put this together for you. Well, let me say one more thing, folks. The chief was determined he was going to be the last person to drive across that bridge. So, as you all will see, here he comes for the last time coming across that bridge.
Can you turn that
I will. But I'd like everybody to see, come up and see that in front of you. But I want to present this. This means a lot. And I sat down and tried to come up with a slogan or something to remember the bridge was by. So I came up with a last swing of a new beginning, which is true. It was the last swing and we got a new beginning. My wife and I were down. My wife and I were down together that morning. So I got pictures. This particular one is the last final resting position.
I ain't seen it yet. Good.
I videoed it opening for the last time and all that. Got a lot of videos. But this is the chief right here in this car coming across for the last time.
How about that?
And
I want to thank you. Thank you so much.
Chief,
I'm lost for words.
This is for you, your family, your office, for everyone that you want to do with us. And I just like being a part of this island.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to drop it off and I talked to Denise. I think I'd rather bring it here.
That's good.
Like I said, once I get all my videos, and I know a lot of folks have got a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, but once I get all my videos together, I'm going to make this a real good tape of the old bridge.
Maybe we could just have a presentation sometime.
It might take some time to do it because I'm not one that gets in a great big hurry on doing things.
That's all right.
You see how long it took me to get that done?
Yeah.
I actually made that last January. And, but anyway, I've got a lot of memorabilia when it comes to videos, pictures, and just a lot of memories of the island itself. So thank you for letting me be a part of everything. Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it, Mr. Phillips. Thank you.
You were the only one I knew that was the next one to drive over there.
and I did. I've known it for the whole year. Well, he was the last official one to run across. I know the guys that took the bridge apart went across it.
Yeah, but
I don't think the road goes because it was in its final position. And another thing I did want to point out was the fact that it's got the old one in the resting place beside the new one right there.
there you go.
That's amazing.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was surprising. Congratulations, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Okay, is there anything else to come before the board?
Second. Motion to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank y'all for coming.